I'm making this video for any kid or teenager that's overweight, or you're obese, or you're insecure about how you look. This is for you. During a lot of my adolescent years, I was obese. Whenever I was a small kid, probably before the age of 10, I was a normal weight. I was like just a normal kid. And then right around 10, I started playing a lot of video games. I was playing video games all the time at home. My parents, they were going through a pretty hard time, so I just think it was hard for them to try and you know, nurture me, give me the proper attention I needed to not keep that behavior going. I was playing video games all the time, and I was always eating. I always had food at home. I was always eating. So, that went on for a long time, and I became a very, very heavy kid. And then during puberty, I got taller, and I lost some of that fat. I wasn't as fat, but I was still a chubby kid. And as I was reaching puberty, I still had certain memories of, I wasn't really bullied too much, but people would point it out. And around that time, that's when I started noticing, because when kids your age start pointing it out, you look around and you realize, whoa, I don't look like everybody else. Why don't I look like everybody else? And that, for me, and I think for a lot of people, kind of starts your insecurities. I think that's kind of where your insecurities start. And yeah, so I get to puberty, I get taller, but I'm still chubby. I'm still so insecure. I hate the way I look, and I look at other people and I just look fat, and I was so terrified of taking my shirt off. I was so terrified of taking my shirt off and not in people seeing what I looked like. In fact, I would walk around, right? So I'd wear t-shirts, and I became so aware, so self-conscious about it. I would walk around like this. I would run like this. I would hold my shirt like this so people couldn't see that I had boobs, or that I had fat. I'd walk around like this. And I just remember that was the most uncomfortable thing ever. I was so uncomfortable in my skin, and I hated my body so much. I hated everything about my body. I would wear jackets in school. I would wear all black all the time. I still wear all black all the time. It still makes me feel comfortable, and I'll get to talking about how I still live through that today. How I still live through those insecurities today. I I had friends, and they all had very good bodies, and in school, I also had friends, they played sports. And I have this very, very traumatic, I don't even want to say it's traumatic for me anymore, but it was traumatic for me then. And this is a scenario where I could see another kid getting themselves into. I even though I was heavy, and even though I was still chubby, I still did sports. I did a lot of sports, but it never really kept the weight off of me. So one year, this might have been 7th, 8th grade maybe. One year, I was trying out for the basketball team, and we had to do shirts versus skins, and I panicked, and I was on the skins. I couldn't take my shirt off. We started the game, and I wouldn't take my shirt off, and all the kids were yelling at me. The coaches were yelling at me, and they were telling me to take my shirt off, and I just wouldn't. And eventually I did. And it was so hard for me, because it was like all the popular kids, all the kids that I wanted to like me, I wanted them to like me. And I had to take my shirt off in front of them. It was the worst. time I could have taken my shirt off. It was my biggest fear. And of course, you know, with your fears, you have to confront them. At some point, they are going to confront you in your life. They're going to come for you. It's just inevitable. It's how things work. I had my shorts pulled up, you know, so that it would try and hide my, what do they call it? Love humps. I think that's what they call them. You know, the things back here. So that was a very, very traumatic memory. That was probably my most traumatic memory. And besides, you know, comparing yourself to other people. And then, you know, freshman year of school came around, you know, like high school came around. It was probably towards the end of 8th grade. And I was tired of it. I was so tired of it. And I just decided I'm going to stop eating. So this began my, I don't know if it's a disorder, but this began my habit of eating only once a day. I would eat only once a day. And I still do that today. You know, I still eat once a day. It just helps manage my weight, helps manage my eating. I'm a binge eater. I just need, once I start eating, I just need to eat until I just can't anymore. So that's what I started doing. And, you know, I got my first girlfriend because I was skinny. I actually turned out I was a pretty attractive guy. You know, after I lost all my weight, I had abs. I was shredded. I was totally shredded. But even though I had gotten to that point, all of those insecurities, and it's not specifically, you know, the fat, it's just how you see yourself compared to other people. It's, you know, you can get past that point, but you can still feel a certain way about yourself, regardless of the truth, regardless of if you became skinny. So regardless of the truth, you know, I feel better about it today. It gets better and better, but I still felt so insecure about myself. I still felt inferior to everybody. I still felt terrible. I didn't want people to see my body. I didn't want my girlfriend to see my body. I didn't want anybody to see my body. And it prevented me from doing things. It prevented me from putting myself out there, from trying new things. But anyway, me and my girlfriend broke up. And then, well, when we were dating, I was 15, 16. My dad died. And after that, I can't remember how many months after that I broke up with my girlfriend. And after that, I was going through a lot. And it didn't feel like anything at that time. Around that time, I was sort of just very, very numb. But we don't need to get into that. This is more about the story as being a fat kid. I guess I was dealing with a lot, and I started working out. I used whatever was inside of me, and I started working out, and I had this life change. It really felt like I was a superhuman person. I had broken out of this. I had broken out of whatever I was, and I had a total six-pack. I was shredded. I looked really good. I was chiseled, and I still try to keep myself like that today. I still try to do that. And I don't necessarily do it in the healthiest way possible. I should be eating throughout the day. I shouldn't be eating one meal where I binge and just eat. I exercise all the time. I do things like that. But I want any kid that's like that to know, you know, you're not inferior to people. You're not worse. You're not a bad person. You're not worthless because of it. It's not over for you. And those things that you struggle with, I'm going to be honest with you. You have to turn those things around. You cannot let those things take over you as you grow up. You cannot let that be who you are. You can turn those things around. You can turn all those negative experiences around, and you can turn it into the greatest thing in your life. I promise you, you can. You can do it. And I want you to not do it like how I did. I don't want you to develop an eating disorder where you only eat once a day. You know, I want you to practice healthy habits. I want you to start working out. And it's hard when you start working out if you're still fat, and if you still have some weight on you, because you just don't see it right away. But you will see it over time. And those kind of experiences and that kind of thing, it will make you a stronger person. It will make you a stronger person. And other people, it's hard to go up to other people and explain it to them because they don't know what it's like. You know, it's hard to go to your peers and talk about what it's like. So this video is for those young kids or those teenagers, or even those people right now that aren't happy with their bodies, that are still fat, that are still overweight. And you know, it might hurt some people to hear the word fat, but if you're fat, you're fat. It's what it is. You got to accept it. You know, you got to accept what you are. That's the first step for sure. But yeah.